Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. This spring, I reached my cancer survivorship. I'm currently in 8th grade at Owen J. Roberts Middle School. I enjoy playing video games and hanging out with my friends and family. And I'd like to shout out my mom, my sister Amber, my sister Chrissy, and my cousin James.
So I'm also Mikey's mom. My name is Andrea. Mikey was diagnosed with leukemia in 2015. He ended his treatment in May of 2018. So he is no longer fighting cancer at the moment. So yes. He had about 42 months of treatment, spinal taps, right? Yes. And he had his port removed, so no more trips to the ER anymore. And he goes every 3 months for checkups. So we're pretty good. We have to wait to year 5 post-treatment, and then he'll get his survivorship. So we're excited for that.
Booyah!
Alright, I know that applause is for Skylar, but I'll go first. Alright, so as you know, my name is Brooke. I was year 3. Thank you. I was diagnosed at age 12 with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. I was in treatment for like 8 or so months, and luckily I've been about, I can't do math, like 8 years cancer-free, so I've been in the survivorship program. Thanks. And I'm currently a junior nursing major at Alberta University, so, hey. So, doing that. Yeah, that's about it, and I do this. Thanks for coming. All right.
Skylar was diagnosed with a high-risk acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Just after her first birthday, she was treated for almost 2.5 years. We were separated a lot from her. She's now 7 years old and almost 4 years out of treatment. She goes to CHOP every 6 months for blood checks and checkups. She's got one more appointment before she moves over to the Survivor Clinic. She's a good second grader now, and she's trying out dance this year. Some of her favorite things are art and singing, which she's pretty good at. And she loves her family, too. And we love her and Red Corner benefit. By the way, my sister's a firecracker. Hey! Scar, say hi. Scar, say hi, now. Scar, say hi. Hi. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Let's have a good rest of the day.
So I'd like to have these two young ladies, Sabrina, hey daddy, I'm on my longboard with no helmet, Palermo, and Hannah, yes, that's your real hair Hibner. Come on out, girl. Now there's a debate if Sabrina's actually going to speak, so we'll see. She has a card. Who wants to go first? Hannah's going to go first.
Hello. I'm Hannah, and 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with a Philadelphia-like acute lymphoblastic leukemia. I'm currently in 9th grade, and I participate in stage crew and other clubs at my school. I just want to say thank you to my family and my really close friends, and a really big thank you to RCB, and thank you for welcoming me into your family. I love you all. That's it.
I'm short. Hi, I'm Sabrina. 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. On October 31st of this year, I will be 4 years out of treatment. Next year, I will be able to participate in survivorship. I am currently in 8th grade at St. Teresa of Calcutta School in Limerick. I play volleyball, I love to play the ukulele, and I really love to longboard. I'd like to thank my family, my friends, and everyone at RCB for welcoming me into their family. Thank you.
I was recipient number 9. I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia when I was 15 years old in August 2015. No, yeah, that was right. I went through 3 years of treatment and brain radiation and ended up relapsing about a few months into remission, actually. And then I had to get a bone marrow transplant where my amazing brother, Brandon Casto, he's a sailor, ooh. So Brandon generously gave me his bone marrow, even though all my siblings were 10 out of 10 matches, which is even better. And I had an amazing family to stick by me, an amazing girlfriend, Rachel, that stuck by me through everything, and I love them all. I love them. I love this family. And now I'm 211 days post-transplant, and I'm living life. Thank you. I am hopefully going to enroll in college next year, and I am currently looking for a job. So anybody, hit me up. Hit me up, please. Thank you guys very much. I thank you, Aunt Tim and Kev, for doing all this, and thank you to the whole entire family. Love you all. Thank you.
Okay, hi. I'm Kiki. I was the first year. Some of you may or may not know. I kind of started it. That's what I heard. And I was diagnosed in October of 2008 with ganglioneuroblastoma, and I went through a lot of treatment. Like, I had a chest x-ray that showed a cyst, an 8-centimeter tumor, and it was rare and aggressive, putting me at higher risk. And surgery was October 29th at CHOP, and 95% was removed, and then I went to Sloan Kettering to get the rest out. I had a portion of my rib removed, and I had a stem cell transplant, 12 treatments of radiation, 7 rounds of chemo, a lot of surgery, central lines, ports, everything and anything. So, and then at the end I had humanized antibodies that were 6 months. It was hell, but it worked. So I've been in remission since 2010. And I'm 16, I'm a junior in high school. I'm doing good. Hopefully gonna graduate, go to college. Yeah, pretty much.
I am Lexi's mom, Stephanie. Lexi was RCB2. Alexa was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, neuroblastoma, at the age of 4 years old. She fought 6 long, hard years. Lexi passed away in November 2011. Lexi was our rock star. Lexi got up on stage, she sang, she was funny, she was beautiful, sweet, engaging. She was a firecracker, she was sassy. She lived so much in her 10 short years than most people live in a lifetime. Her dream and goal was always to become famous. And with the help of our RCB family, I feel like she's famous every year with her Love for Lexi tent. So I want to tell a story so you kind of know her personality who doesn't know her. Lexi had to get 14 rounds of radiation to her skull. She relapsed with a tumor in her head. And after the radiation, she lost all of the hair on the top of her head in a perfect circle. And her doctor, we went to CHOP and had a checkup, and she hopped up on the thing, up on the, stool, was like, he looked at her and he's checking her up and her vitals, and then he's like, let me take your hat off, Lex, and he looks at it. And he looks at me, he goes, I don't think that's gonna grow back. And Lexi was like, what are you talking about? She got mad, put that hat on, and stomped out of the room. Months later, a full head of hair grew back. So we're getting ready to go down back to CHOP for a checkup to see Dr. Grupp. And she puts her hat on. I said, what are you doing? Why do you got your hat on? She's like, don't worry about it. I said, okay. So we get in the car, and we're driving down there, and she's in a great mood, and she's all excited. So she goes walking in there, storms into the room, hops up on the table, and he checks her up and all that. And then she goes like this. Dr. Grupp, you lied like a rug. I always say that Lexi left this life in a profound way, and the only way that we can live on with her legacy is to channel all the qualities that she was. She was engaging, silly, loving, wonderful, humorous, but most of all, charitable. She always told everybody how much she loved them more and how much everybody meant to her in her life. So, thank you.
So my name is Melissa, and this is my wife, Kayla, and we are the parents of Jackson Radcliffe. I'm sorry. It's just so surreal being here. Because this time last year, Jackson was in a trailer up on the corner up there, hanging out in the trailer, playing with his toys because he was too immunocompromised to enjoy this, but he was watching and looking, and we're grateful that he was able to be here for that day. For those of you who don't know, our son Jackson was diagnosed with AML when he was 18 months old. He went through 3 cycles of hard AML protocol before going through 2 bone marrow transplants out of the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And we are actually very blessed to have one of his wonderful nurses here with us today. So thank you, Shanna. So after he went through 2 bone marrow transplants, the last time you guys heard an update from us, we were actually feeling pretty sly because we had a secret, and we waited to announce it to our RCB family, and that the last time we stood on this stage, we shared with everybody that Jackson was in remission. Fast forward a little bit, we enjoyed the time that we had with him in Philadelphia, but we were actually, because of the restrictions with his disease, we had to move to Philly for a period of time But we actually did make it home in time for the holidays, and we enjoyed Christmas as a family at our home in Fleetwood. On January 12th of this year, we received the news that Jackson's cancer was back. And being in the profession that I'm in, I deal with data and analytics. And I know, and I knew then what that meant for him to be in that position, having AML, having his cancer back, and having relapsed after his transplant. That his prognosis wasn't very good. So the moment we found out that his cancer was back, we said, screw it, that's okay. We said, screw it, we're going to Disney, and we took our family with us to Disney. And he had an incredible time there, and that was made possible because of the generosity of our community. His entire family went with. And in those 6 months that we had with him, in the 6 months that we had with Jackson, he just was smiling and loving and such a beautiful, beautiful boy. We took him camping, we took him to the Poconos, we took him to Lancaster. He was playing constantly with his cousins Lily and Piper, who we loved very much. He went swimming at Graham's and Pap's house all the time. And he did it all with so much love in his heart, and he loved us, and we loved him. Unfortunately, his cancer was stable for about 6 months. And then within a week, literally a week, it went from 0 to 100. He went into CHOP. And he passed away on July 12th, just 3 weeks shy of his 3rd birthday.
We love you.
And so I share that with you because Jackson, his spirit lives on. It is our mission to continue to do good in his name and to be part of our broader loving family with RCB and continue to help kids like Travis. If you have not gone to the awareness section, I strongly encourage that you do, and you read their stories and you know their names and you know what they've gone through because they need our help. No child should ever, ever have to go through what these kids go through. And you best believe it, I'm going to advocate and I'm going to fight for them because that's what Jackson will want us to do. One of the things that we would say a lot was like our rallying cry for our son was just keep swimming. And I know that he's here with us, and I know that he can hear us. I would really, really love it if you guys can help us let him hear us by saying just keep swimming with me. Can you do that? I'm going to count to 3, and we'll do it, okay? All right, 1, 2, 3. Just keep swimming! Thanks, guys.
Get your family up here.
I'm now going to introduce the couple that make this magic happen. They have opened their hearts and their home to now 11 families with children who suffer from cancer. We forever are for in debt to you. Tammy and Kevin.
How's everyone doing? What's better than Pennsylvania on a Saturday night in the fall? So, here's my beautiful wife, Tam, better half. The father behind me, Gary. And Evan, Wendy's husband, Tam's sister. Wendy was a co-founder of this event. And she passed away last November, the night before Thanksgiving, from cancer, a very, very young age with a lot more life to live. But Wendy was a huge part of why this is the way it is. She made it a family, and she made people feel special, and she made people feel like a family. And that's how this close-knit, crazy crew evolves. Wendy took care of us, always had our best interests in mind. And when Wendy passed, her father, Gary, really wanted to do something in her honor and put this roof over the stage. We called it Project Shelter from the Storm. And so many of the crew pitched in to make this happen. And it does what she did for us. She protected us, kept us safe from the storms. And we miss her so much, but she lives on here. We planted her tree over there last night. She'll always be here with us. And just like Jackson, I think we should bring our friend Wiley out here one more time. Every fall when Wendy lived in California, so every fall when she would arrive, we'd be waiting on the porch for her. Most of those people were drunk. And when she arrived, she'd get out of the car and everyone would yell something. So I'm gonna bring on the count of three, at 1, 2, 3, we're gonna yell Wendy really loud.
There it is.
But it's not, you don't say Wendy, you say Wendy. So it's a little tutorial. This guy does it better. That's why I'm handing the mic to him. 1, 2, 3. Wendy! All right, now we're going to bring out the man of the hour and his family, Travis Reese. And along with him is his brother Thomas.
Whoa, there's a lot of you. I mean, goddamn. No, really, if you told me a year ago that any of this would be happening, I would be in utter disbelief. I mean, this kid right here is the bravest person that I know, in all honesty. He is... Woo. Travis is only 16, and he has done more with 16 short years than some people manage to do in their entire lives. In 1 year, almost to the day, he was diagnosed on Halloween. Travis was diagnosed with leukemia. I remember getting the phone call and running down to the hospital from Drexel University as soon as I could, which was within 2 hours. And when I saw him, he looked pretty great, which of course was only due to the fact that he was pumped full of medication. I looked at him, and he looked at me, and smiled, and he said, "Man, talk about a shitty day." It was very surreal, you know? I wanted to tell him to get up and walk out of there. You know, maybe the doctors were wrong, maybe it was a mistake, and maybe the world wasn't imploding around him. Maybe if we just start running and leave the hospital and never turn back, the problem won't follow. And I remember thinking, get up, you son of a bitch. Like, stop, like the joke's over now, you can go home. And that never happened. We knew that things were gonna get worse, and to be fair, they did. But then again, here we are right now celebrating the progress of the resilient perseverance that is his story. Travis passed every single AP class he took last year and moved on to the next grade without being in school, starting from October. So I'd like to share a story about Travis. My mom is a terrible public speaker, so I figured that I would take the honor. There was a conversation going on, and in the conversation, the question came up it wasn't really a question so much as a philosophical debate, and the question was, why is it that bad things only happen to good people? And Travis took a moment and he looked down, and he looked at my mom and he said, even if I die, even if this goes the other way, people are gonna miss me. Bad people don't have bad things happen to them because people won't miss them, and nothing positive can come from it. That's the kind of kid we have on this stage right now. And let me be clear, that statement goes for all survivors, not just him. Even those that lose their battle, the same exact condition applies. So, despite the fact I'm 20, I have a confession to make. Whenever I'm in a really bad place, I find myself pulling up really old niche clips from, Mr. Rogers. That's probably, most of you probably under 30 don't remember that show. He would always say on his show to look for the helpers, because you will always find people who are helping. And even as I've become an adult, the profundity of those words have finally began to hit me, because, oh God, how many of you are you today? Like 3,000? Almost 3,000, that's crazy. I mean, I found that advice helpful even in my worst moments. So take a minute and look to the person to your left, to your right, behind you, and in front of you. I mean it. Look to the people around you. Smile at them. Because all of you are sharing in a trait right now more profound than any surface level connection. You're united around a cause. For background, we have a single mother. I haven't seen my father in about 3 years, and Travis's diagnosis is a lot in addition to that. We've had to cope with not only cancer, but the legal, financial, and logistical ramifications of it, and it has flipped our family dynamic on its head. I'm not gonna lie, it's been very demoralizing at times, and I'm not even the one who was suffering. I've been surrounded in my life by people who have done nothing to help. People offer their words because talk is cheap. Words take no effect, and sympathy predicates no passion. Almost everybody in my life who has not dealt with childhood cancer has gotten away with giving no constructive criticism to solve these problems. The worst response that I've gotten is when people tell me that we need to buck up, or when someone says, hey, I'm sorry, Travis, and I understand what you're going through. They don't. If I had a nickel for every person who told me that they understood and that Travis was in their thoughts and prayers, there would be no need for these wonderful red-shirted people around you. However, the most tragic irony here is that if they feel sorry for Travis, then I'm ashamed, my friend, that you have missed the point. We do not gather here to feel sorry for survivors. We are not here to feel sorry for Thomas or Jackson or anyone that we've lost, or people who are still fighting and those who will come after us. We're here Because people like him are our heroes. And the selflessness of all of you to be here right now, today, all of you. There are times when we all know that the families and kids affected by this disease wanted to give up. They don't. And do you know why? It's because these brave kids smile through the pain and find a reason to go on. And in doing so, they show more resolve than most people will in their entire lives. Even if they lose, they fight harder than anyone we will ever meet. Like I said, we don't gather here to feel sorry for Travis or to any of those kids on that wall. We gather here to admire them. If there were more people like all of you, there'd be no need for the idea of heaven, because we'd already be there. Let's also have a quick round of applause from my mom, who I'm not going to point out because she's really embarrassed, but yeah. This woman caught his cancer in 12 days. 12. She stayed with him in the hospital for weeks, and while I haven't said much about her because that's his shtick, I wanted to make my feelings known as well. So I'm going to pass the microphone over to Travis, but before I do, I want you all to give him the loudest ovation that you can muster, because this son of a bitch beat cancer. I'm so proud of him.
There's a lot of you. Hold on, let me find my phone. As many of you could have guessed, I'm Travis, yeah. And I would like to start off by addressing all of you who took the time out of your busy schedules to attend this event in honor of not only me, but also the legacy, fight, and determination that the 10 other kids, either here in spirit or physically with us, have or do show. Throughout all of this, the most important thing that I learned is in all my hardships, no matter what, supporting others is what really matters. The ER doctor that diagnosed me, Dr. McCarthy, great guy, he said to me a powerful statement that stuck with me even to now. He said, whether you like it or not, we are now part of the same team today, Team C. We are your family you never wanted, but the one that you're glad you have. And that stuck with me because that statement even resounds right now with all of you, because you are now technically my family. So I think I speak for everyone when I say that pediatric cancer is quite possibly one of, if not the most devastating things to happen to a family, just because it is literally life or death in certain circumstances. They wanted to tell me, or they wanted me to talk about one of my worst times in the hospital. So back in March to April, I had to stay inpatient for a week at a time, 4 times bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks I would have to go in. And that was probably the worst part because I couldn't leave after a certain amount of days. It was all undefined because I had to rid my body of all the chemo. So that I could actually return home and not be toxic in my own bed. So it was a really rough period because I couldn't really hang out with any of my friends. I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't see any movies. So I missed Endgame. That kind of sucked. But yeah, the toxicity not only hurt me physically, it also hurt me emotionally because it kind of put me in a rock and a hard place kind of. Because I couldn't go anywhere. I was stuck to the hospital room and my IV pole, which I had to lug around and walk so that my legs didn't crumble. So because of that, I kind of got situationally depressed. And the only solace in that is that academics actually helped me get out of that, which is kind of ironic because until all this happened, I didn't really like school, even though, I wasn't that bad at it. So after I found out that academics was a good way to cope, I started doing all my AP work that my tutor, whom my mom paid for, by the way, I started doing all the AP work that I could possibly, because the plan was for me to take the AP tests this summer, or last summer, I guess, because of my accommodations that I could get due to my diagnosis and the unforeseen circumstances that I found myself in. But unfortunately, I couldn't get them just because the school didn't know about it and we didn't know about it until the day it was due, like all the forms and whatnot. So I didn't get to take my AP test, but it was still a good way to cope because I managed to finish term 3, which is the final term of my school, with academic high honors. And I mean, it wasn't all me. It was my tutor, definitely my brother, and more importantly, my advisor, Mr. Doherty. He came out weekly to teach me and sacrifice his time during it. So I'd like a round of applause for him. I'd also like to recognize my sister because, you know, throughout this entire time, she kind of has gotten a little shafted in attention. I mean, no disrespect to her, but I want to say how good of a runner she is, because that's kind of her thing. So she placed first consistently this entire season in cross country, and she broke the school record. So, yeah. I'd also like to talk about my brother, because even though he was in the city, he still came to Spinal Taps and whatnot. Sorry, it's really emotional. So I'd also like to thank my friends, Ben, Michael, Zach, Porter, Adam, and Drew, Shetty. Yeah. They were really supportive throughout this entire time and visited me a lot of times in the hospital. And I'm just kind of happy to be back at school now. Yeah. So I'd like to thank all of you and the Red Corner people, and I'd like a round of applause for all of them on top of the previous survivors.
So I've been tagged in. Yeah, round of applause for him. I couldn't imagine being here. You know, he formatted this document in like the dumbest way possible. It's like, it's not fit to the page. The third paragraph, okay. All right, here he goes. So, yeah, let's give my mother a little bit of recognition. I'm gonna read his exact words. He just wanted me to tag in a little bit so he could have an emotional break. So now, to quote him, now is the part that my mom's been waiting for with bated breath, because it's all directed towards her. For those of you who don't know, and I'm reading first person, by the way, from him, my mom is a nurse, specifically a night shift nurse. Working night shifts has been her thing since I could remember, but it makes interacting with society a lot more difficult, as quite regularly you go without any sleep at all to make appointments and cater to 3 children. To give you an insight on who my mother is, she dropped all of this immediately when he got diagnosed. And she even got fired over it. Can you believe that? I mean, they fired her because she was taking care of her son and staying in the hospital. They fired her under the table, too, didn't even give her recognition. I mean, but you know, tea aside, I'm genuinely thankful that she's there, as she does care about my health. And once again, reading first person. She's telling me to eat more, and while at times it seems annoying, I'm genuinely thankful she's there, as she does care about the little things in my health. But more than my weight, my mother has helped me understand parts of my diagnosis I didn't understand from doctor talk, or just the basic info on why certain drugs affect me in different ways. For example, my cancer is treated with a variety of steroids, and there are some more strong than others. This was exemplified in my first phase of treatment almost a year ago when I became a situational diabetic. Those 28 days, the child life coordinator saw an abnormal high amount of black beads, which symbolized finger pokes. This kid was getting finger poked 5 times a day for diabetes. He couldn't hold a video game controller because it hurt him too much due to the bruises on his fingers, which I guess is kind of funny in retrospect. See, he thought it was funny. Those 28 days, the child life coordinator supported him, and he learned how to do blood sugar checks. He learned exactly how many Doritos he had to eat for every half unit of Humalog insulin. It was like was it like 11?
Worth it. It was completely worth it.
This was in part due to the fact that his mother helped him pay for the situation entirely, single-handedly, with no help from a dad. She paid for a tutor so that he could maintain the academic success that we all know he's capable of. And yet, throughout all of this, she will claim no fault in his recovery, which is amazing. You know? Well, I would like to publicly denounce this premonition and tell you that you are in fact responsible for his situation, and that there isn't a lot of people who would fight for that. If you, Mom, from his perspective, hadn't stayed with him during those really long weeks of being in the hospital, I can't speak as if I would have the same outlook on this disease as I currently do. So I'm going to give the microphone off to Travis so he can say a couple ad-libbed words. But before I do, you're all amazing. I mean, I don't know how to properly express that. I mean, I can't. You all blend together. Like, do you realize how many of you there are? Like out there, you're all like you're like a cloud. I can see faces here, but you know, you're all amazing. You all came out to support this amazing kid. And I mean, I'm really proud of him, and it's about time that the world gave him what he deserved.
Yeah, thank you all for coming out. It means a lot to me.
Oh, come on, you can go louder than that.